So a couple of months ago, I put out a request to my audiences on social media, through my blog, and even some of my TV and live appearances. What questions do you have for me? And what we got back was pretty interesting. So I'm going to answer a couple of them now. And this is going to be off the cuff, no edits, no stopping if we can manage it, unless I just completely flub. All right, here we go.
What inspired your transition from professional ballet to the world of food and cocktails?
Good question. A lot of that had to do with moving out to Western Massachusetts and having kids. I had been a professional ballet dancer in the city of Boston for many, many years. I was teaching, I was dancing, I was coaching, was not eating a lot, I'll tell you that. But when I moved out west, suddenly I found myself with a lot of spare time and a lot of great resources. And I started diving into cooking. And with cooking came entertaining. With entertaining came the blog. And with the blog came the TV. And with the TV came the book. So the inspiration for that was to continue learning and diving into my passions, whether it's at the bar or by the stove.
If you could only use 3 ingredients for the rest of your life, what would they be and why?
Right. So my kids ask me this question very often, or some sort of variation of it, but I love tomatoes, I love cheese, and I love bread. They're simple flavors, they're easy to put together. There's a couple of variations that I could eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
What's one behind the scenes moment from writing or promoting your cookbook that you'll never forget?
Ooh. I think when I stepped on the soundstage for New York Living, it was different than any other studio I'd been at. It was much bigger. There was a lot more going on. There were fancy dancy cameras and all these amazing people. Plus it's New York City. Even as a Boston lady, I can appreciate it's New York City. This is the Big Apple. It's the big time. And walking onto that stage and seeing my book presented behind me and talking to the great hosts, that's a time I'll never forget. It was sort of a star-struck moment for me in my promotion for my cookbook.
What is the one cocktail recipe you think every home bartender should master?
Okay, so this might be controversial. I think a lot of home bartenders underestimate their talents and their potential. We stick to the Cape Codders, the cranberry, the lime, and the vodka, or we'll do like a gin and tonic, which is very good. It's a classic and it's good and it's served all the time for a good reason. But I think everyone should really start looking into sours, whether that's a whiskey sour, a gin sour. It's a lovely drink where you combine your base alcohol with a couple of fruit juices, some simple syrup, which could be infused with different flavors, and then an egg white. And I know, I can feel it through the lens. You're going, ew, egg white. No, if you've ever had a frothy drink at a bar or restaurant, chances are they used an egg white to create that sort of bubbly top texture. It's so light, it's airy, and it makes this drink super special, and it's no harder than a gin and tonic.
What's the most exciting part about stepping into the world of food TV, and what are you hoping to bring to audiences?
Most exciting part of stepping into food TV would be the ability to connect with different audiences. In the past, I've always been almost a passive voice. You can stay behind the keyboard when you're writing a blog. You can stay behind a handheld camera when you're focusing on social media. But TV is a different medium. You have to be on. And as a former professional ballet dancer, a theater kid, I love performing. So what I love to do is to really connect with a new variety of audiences in a new way, really bringing a hands-on effect to my work, but also having the ability to showcase my personality, which is at times both elegant and goofy and giggly, and really just loving food and drink.
I think building on that, how has your professional ballet training influenced the way you approach cooking or entertaining?
So being a professional dancer, you spend countless hours standing at the bar, perfecting the same movements over and over again, but they're never the same each day. You're creating new depth, you're creating new artistry, the hand that is moving as an extension of the arm, the tilt of the head. It's all about repetition, perfection, and creating a moment in time that will stand out to the person watching, but will never be necessarily replicated in the same way. So with cooking, there's a similar idea. You are creating a system through technique or following a recipe or plating a dish that is a moment in time that can be enjoyed. And it's done through a lot of practice and a lot of breakdown of techniques, which is a real facet of my work, is enabling and empowering the home cook to be able to throw that dinner party, to be able to create that fancy macaron dish or a flourless chocolate cake, and know that you can do it. It's the repetition and the artistry that really, I think, translates from the theater into the kitchen.
Okay. Here's a silly one. If you had to write your next cookbook entirely in rhymes, what would the title be?
Oh dear, I haven't
Who
had
asked this question?
probably her son. If it was entirely, I want to say, I don't know. My things don't rhyme. How many flower names rhyme? How many main dishes rhyme with something? I don't know.
Vidalia and Dahlia.
Vidalia and Dahlia? That's sort of something.
All right, imagine you're hosting...
We'll cut that one.
You're hosting a food TV show, but every episode starts with a random dance move. What is your go-to move, and how does it tie into your cooking?
All right, so if I were talking about ballet, I would say port de bras. Port de bras is both the basis of ballet, it means movement of the arms, but it also, it gets used in every single dance. So it's a system, again, of different movements. And so I would do a lovely port de bras before going over to whisk up some egg whites for a fluffy meringue pavlova.
Alrighty, and this one, another interesting one. If your kitchen appliances could talk, which one would have the sassiest personality, and what would it say about your cooking?
Okay, so I'll answer this in two parts because, when I think kitchen appliances, I think something mechanized, motorized. So I have a gorgeous KitchenAid professional mixer. I love this stand mixer. I've affectionately named it Julia, after one of my idols, Julia Child. I think this is the workhorse in my kitchen. I think that it would tell me that I expect much too much out of it. When we're doing a recipe, like I need to quickly beat some eggs or quickly beat some butter and sugar for the cooking, I feel like it would tell me to slow down and enjoy life and then be sipping on some Chardonnay at the same time. But the other kitchen tool, and I have over here if someone wants to throw it at me, son, is the humble potato masher. Now, this humble potato masher has come with me through my childhood, my adult life, but it has a greater history than that. This was my great-grandmother's. So we're talking the 40s, and you can make mashed potatoes out of this. You can squish your applesauce. You can make the juices from your jam, your berries released by squishing those soft berries. But this tool holds my heart because it's generational. And as I hold it in my hands, I can think back to the mothers, the grandmothers, and the great-grandmothers who came before me and were cooking meals for their loved ones and putting in a lot of love.
Right. So here's kind of a classic question. If you're stuck on a deserted island with only one dish, what would it be? And I'm going to add, you're lucky enough to have a cocktail as well.
Oh, so in addition, so let's start with the cocktail. I would say for cocktails, I am a huge fan of añejo tequila. And my favorite way to shake up añejo tequila is in a spicy cucumber jalapeno margarita. It's muddled cucumbers and jalapenos, a little bit of triple sec. You have your beautiful añejo tequila, which is a little bit smoky, a little sweet, a little vanilla. And it's delicious. So I have to have that as my drink. And for, what was it, ingredients or dishes? Main dish.
Just a main dish.
A main dish. I would have to say, it doesn't go with my cocktail, but I do love this dish, chicken paprikash. And chicken paprikash is a dish that's usually simmered for a really long time, but I make a version that is done in an hour. It has chicken thighs, it has smoked paprika and cumin and garlic and shallots and loads of bell pepper. You serve it over mashed potatoes or rice, and it's total comfort food, and it's easy peasy to make on a weeknight.
I think we're done for the moment.
If you have more questions, feel free to put them in the comments, send me an email, or check out my blog, straighttothehipsbaby.com. I also have a cookbook. Hey son, throw me the cookbook. Seasons Around the Table, available now on every book buying platform, and you can find those recipes that I mentioned, as well as that good old potato masher in the photos. Check it out. This is my ode to home entertaining and family gatherings with great food and amazing drink.